It's hard to imagine, a day without checking our feeds or connecting online. Social networking has just become so ingrained in how we live and work, and I think, honestly, a lot of that goes back to one person, Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, absolutely. For this deep dive, we're not just looking at a straight biography, not just the dates and the events, right? What we're going to do, based on the material you've provided, is dig deeper. We're going to examine the big decisions, the turning points that made Facebook, or I guess we should say Meta now, into what it is today.
Exactly, and the retrospective that you provided gives us a great roadmap. I mean, it covers everything from his early coding projects all the way to the metaverse, which, well, we'll definitely get to that. It's pretty ambitious stuff.
It is, and I think what we want to do is sort of extract the core understanding from all of that. Pinpoint those key lessons and the pivotal moments in Zuckerberg's journey, because let's be honest, not everyone have time to read a whole biography, right?
Right. So think of this as, I guess, getting that essential understanding. How did one person drive such massive change? And I think this is important too. What are the complexities that came with it? That's what we're going to unpack.
Yeah, for sure. And to really understand that trajectory, it's helpful to go back, even before Harvard. The material mentions that he created a messaging system for his dad's dental practice, right? This was in middle school in White Plains, New York, which, by the way, is where he was born in May of 1984.
Wow, middle school. I mean, that's not just using tech, that's actually building a solution.
Exactly. Problem solving through code at a really young age.
So then fast forward to 2004, the infamous Harvard dorm room. That's where the Facebook came to life. Along with his roommates, of course, Eduardo Saverin, Andrew McCollum, Dustin Moskovitz, and Chris Hughes. And it's funny thinking about it now, but it wasn't meant for everyone at first. It was only for Harvard students, right?
That's right, just Harvard students.
Yeah.
That exclusivity, I think, that was a huge part of its initial appeal. Like you were part of something special, something that not everyone had access to.
Oh, for sure. But, before the Facebook, there was that, well, I guess you could call it an intriguing precursor, Face Mash.
Oh, yeah, Face Mash. I mean, that one landed him in hot water at Harvard, didn't it?
It did. Comparing student photos, it was pretty controversial, but looking back, I think it shows something important about Zuckerberg.
What's that?
That he's willing to experiment, push boundaries, even if it means taking risks and dealing with the consequences.
I see what you mean. It's like sometimes those early missteps can lead to something more focused, even if it's still really ambitious.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that even with those, quote, overnight success stories, it's rarely a straight line to get there. And from that, well, somewhat shaky start, things really took off. I mean, the appeal went way beyond just one campus, right?
Yeah, way beyond. Quickly expanded to other Ivy League schools, and then, well, the rest. Global domination.
Global domination. By 2006, just 2 years after launching, it had over 7 million users. That's not just luck, that's exponential growth.
No, that kind of growth, it definitely gets attention. And it definitely got the attention of some pretty big investors. It was clear that this wasn't just a fad.
Right, this was something big. But that kind of rapid expansion, that always comes with its own set of challenges. And one of the first, and probably the most well-known, was the lawsuit from the Winklevoss twins.
Oh yeah, the Winklevoss twins. They claimed that Zuckerberg stole their idea for Facebook.
And that led to a pretty intense legal battle, and of course that famous $65 million settlement. It's a reminder of just how high the stakes are in the tech world, even from those early days.
That's true, and I think it's worth mentioning The Social Network, the movie. For a lot of people, that's how they understand the whole Facebook origin story.
Yeah, the drama, the controversy, the backstabbing, all of that definitely added to the whole narrative.
But even with all that going on, if we jump ahead to 2012, we hit a major milestone, the IPO.
The IPO. Facebook goes public with a valuation of, wait for it, $104 billion.
Billion. With a B. That was the biggest tech IPO at the time. Just shows you the massive economic impact Facebook had already achieved in, 8 years?
8 years, yeah. I mean, it was officially a global player, but, with that kind of size and influence, the scrutiny starts to ramp up as well.
Oh, yeah. Privacy concerns, fake news, election interference. Suddenly, the ethical responsibilities of having a platform with billions of users, that became a very public conversation.
And then you have the Cambridge Analytica scandal in 2018. That was a big turning point.
Huge turning point. I think that really brought the whole issue of data privacy and how much power these platforms have It brought that to the forefront for a lot of people.
It did, and Zuckerberg had to answer for it, testifying before Congress, promising reforms. I mean, it was a real moment of reckoning. It showed that connecting billions of people comes with a lot of responsibility.
For sure. And what's interesting is that even with all that happening, Facebook kept growing, kept expanding, buying up Instagram in 2012, WhatsApp in 2014, and Oculus that same year. Clearly, there was a strategy in place, diversifying beyond just the core platform.
Yeah, a long-term vision even while dealing with these immediate crises. And speaking of long-term vision, that brings us to the shift to Meta and the Metaverse. It wasn't just a name change in 2021, it was a signal that things were changing.
Oh, absolutely. It signaled a move away from I guess you could say, the traditional social network. This was something new.
Something new, yeah. And Zuckerberg has been very clear about the thinking behind the metaverse. He believes that VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality, are the next big leaps in how we interact with technology.
Yeah, this idea that our digital and physical lives are going to blend even further. And the metaverse is, well, it's a big part of that. Work, socializing, even play, all happening in these immersive digital spaces. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it opens up a lot of possibilities, but it also raises a lot of questions. But that's a discussion for another time, maybe. What's clear, though, is that despite all the challenges and controversies, Meta is still a multi-billion-dollar company. And Zuckerberg, even at, the relatively young age of 39, he's still a major player in the tech world.
Absolutely. So let's recap, right? What are some of the key takeaways here, especially for someone who wants a concise understanding of Zuckerberg's journey?
Well, first, I think starting small but with a big vision. Facebook started in a dorm room, but the ambition was always much larger.
Right. And then there's the importance of risk-taking. I mean, dropping out of Harvard, that was a big gamble, but it paid off.
And then there's the need to constantly adapt and evolve. Facebook hasn't stood still. Social networking, to communication, to image sharing, now AI and the metaverse, always pushing forward.
And let's not forget, with success comes scrutiny. Zuckerberg has dealt with a lot of controversies, a lot of public pressure, but he's weathered those storms.
He has. It's a reminder that when you're operating at that level, resilience is essential.
Now, we should acknowledge that there are many different perspectives on Zuckerberg and his impact. We've tried to present a balanced view, focusing on the key events and decisions.
And as we wrap up, here's something for you to think about. With social platforms evolving so quickly and this push towards immersive worlds like the metaverse, what are the long-term implications? The good and the bad. It's something we all need to consider as we move into this new digital landscape.